In 1992, the 90th show that ever 90s, the 90s, came onto French television. The name of the program was Hélène et les Garçons. So iconic, so legendary, and such a representation and a core memory of a generation that a version of this show with the same actors is still on today. But let's go back, go back, go back. I would like to thank our partner Only Three Sewing Switzerland. O3S is a dressmaking and women's wear sew on demand service based in Geneva, Switzerland, specializing in mid-size clothing. They have their own collection of Afropean fashion and take commissions for Western wear. All their work is sewn to order and all their offcuts are repurposed in other creations. Your personal dressmaker at H&M prices is Only Three Sewing. O3S doesn't provide international shipping at this time. Please contact Vanessa on their social media linked below. And remember that terms and conditions apply for each order. Thank you once again to Only Three Sewing Switzerland. We open in the lad's improbable student housing where Etienne is typing on a Macintosh 1. Remember, there's no internet. Nicolas is practicing his fingering. And Christian is crawling around looking for his one missing sock. Nicolas suggests he might have left his missing sock at the girls' improbable student accommodation when he and Johanna both disappeared for several hours the previous day. Christian denies, of course, and everyone believes him 100%. After a good giggle, the keyboard issue arises. Clearly not the first time. They need a keyboardist for their demos, but hesitate. Disturbing their group dynamic is a big problem and a big concern. They worry they might disturb their group's dynamic and fear delays on the demo project while they integrate a new member. Legitimate concerns. Johanna is having a spa day, while Helen is once again not studying somehow. Johanna is wondering if her imaginary skin issues would be helped by a full-face skin graft. Ever supportive Helen can only say, if you feel it's important to you. I would like just to talk about a little minute about hyper-supportive people who always say that everything you think, say, or do is wonderful. That is not reality, okay? Real people who really your friend will tell you honestly and sincerely if you're being silly. Helen in this scene, it does not have a sarcastic or ironic voice or seemed to be joking. That is genuinely her character. Throughout the show, at least this first iteration of Hélène et les Garçons, she is always, oh yes, darling, of course, my love, don't worry. No. Okay. It is extremely irritating. I think they do this because they want to make Helen relatable to teenagers and to make her likable. But it's giving, yeah, I'm not really keen on um, this trope of the teenage girl who is hyper supportive of everyone around her and who thinks that everything is wonderful. It's kind of like Isabella Swan in Twilight. In the 90s, clearly a stupid idea. In the 2024s, uh, I'm pretty sure people do that. Just change the skin of their face in order to avoid skin problems. Anyway, moving on. We meet the boys at the improbable cafeteria, which has no windows, with the lads. Helen calls Nicholas a good buddy. They are combing through trade magazines like Guitar Part and Making the Band kind of magazine to find like classifieds of people who are either playing keyboards and looking for a band or other bands that have a keyboardist that is leaving and things like that. And they are kind of worried about their group dynamic, and Christian is determined to be a rock star. He says, we don't need keyboards. It's gonna be fine, just the three of us like champions. And Nicolas and Etienne are really like, no, this is not gonna work. We need a keyboard. That's when Johanna arrives. Hello, Christian. How are you? And immediately Christian is kind of very hostile towards her.
Anyone can see that we are hopelessly mismatched. She has had 5 just. This would be my first. When she is laughing, I am somber. When I am happy, she is crying. She mocks everything. While I take everything seriously. She is nothing like the woman I thought I would marry.
Thankfully for her, Etienne and Nicolas are there to kind of translate, but the remarks they make are kind of making fun of Christian as well. And they talk about his missing sock and how dramatic that is. Joanna gets a giggle and proceeds to sit down next to Christian. How are you, my darling? What are you doing, my love? Stop talking to me, woman. I got man business to do. That kind of energy, you know what I mean? And Etienne teases Christian, who is clearly uncomfortable with PDA and just expressing his emotion. So he's kind of like, you guys are so funny. That's when Joanna pulls out the sock. The lads are crying out laughing. They're like, oh, Joanna had the sock. So the lads get up to leave for the gym to go meet the girls. And Joanna's like, no, no, Christian, you stay here. I'll drive you, my darling. And Christian is like, oh, this is convenient, but she's really annoying and she's going to touch me and things and want to kiss me and stuff. And it's going to be horrible. So we don't find out during this series the background, the behind the scenes of Joanna and Christian. We find out in year, I think it's 3 or 4. Like they have a big story arc where we see both of them together with no one else around, and Christian behaves like a normal person. But at this point in the show, Christian is just sort of like a tortured pet. Helen and Kathy are at the gym and they're gossiping about the lads and about their status. Are they boyfriends? Are they just friends? That's where Helen repeats her good buddy sentence, which made that she told Nicolas and made him feel a little bit inadequate, shall we say. Joanna and Christian arrive arm in arm, and apparently Joanna has a very creative way of driving. And Christian says, I feared for my life. I thought I was going to die. So other lads arrive, Nicolas and Etienne. They finally arrive a few minutes after Joanna, and but they did see her rush past them with her car, and they were just like, "Oh my God, don't drive like that." So everybody goes to get their kisses in. Hello, darling. Hello, my dear. Um, Making sure to get butt shots of Cathy Andrieux. Lovely. And the lads are like, okay, we're gonna go change and take showers and do stuff and get our sports gear. See you in a bit. So the girls are by themselves with their gym equipment and their gossip. That's when a young man with giant rock and roll hair walks in. He asks Kathy if he can borrow the rower for a few minutes if she's done. And she says, yeah, sure, I'm done. He goes and installs his bony self on his rower, and the girls are like, "Oh, look how handsome he is! Oh yeah, he's very hot." Blah blah blah, and ooh. So again, in the 90s, this man is considered muscular and fit.
tu resteras toujours quelqu'un de très important pour moi.
Quand je vous regarde tous les deux, vous faites vraiment un beau couple.
Merci beaucoup, c'est gentil.
C'est moi chez votre con, là. Et c'est de se débarrasser de moi. C'est clair.
Je peux pas croire ça, Hélène, c'est pas possible.
Eh bien, il s'en passe des choses en quelques jours.
Dit Les Mystères de l'amour, dimanche prochain à 20h sur TMC. Et découvrez dès à présent le prochain épisode en streaming sur MyTF1 Max.
This video is presented to you by NordVPN. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? So Joanna goes to introduce herself. Hi, how are you? I'm Joanna. What's your name? Hello, I'm José. So José, as the Americans would say, but in French we say José. So José starts chatting with Joanna and how you doing and what you're up to, what university are you in? Oh, I'm at this Sorbonne University. They're not at Sorbonne. That's not what Sorbonne looks like. Um, but while they're chatting, Helen and Kathy decide to go sit a little bit somewhere else so they don't look like they sent Joanna to go catch this lad for them, this man for them. But Kathy is a little bit worried that if Etienne sees Joanna flirting with another man, he'll think that she's, and I quote, fast or easy or whatever. So Joanna and Jose approach Helen and Kathy at the bar or table, whatever, and he asks, "What do you ladies want to drink?" And Helen and Kathy are kind of embarrassed because they're not really single, but they have a thing going on. And Jose is this new man, and he's very very cute, so they just sort of like, "Yes, yes, orange juice, thank you very much, go away." So he goes to fetch the orange juice. The girl scolds Joanna. Oh, why are you talking to him like that? Oh my God. The boys are going to think that we're loose women and blah, 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 blah. You know, all that pick me stuff that nowadays doesn't fly, but at the time seemed quite reasonable because it was still a time where a girl's reputation was everything she had, basically. If you didn't have a good reputation, it caused problems in school, in high school, and even in uni. If you went to uni in the same area where you had your high school, it's a whole thing. So Kathy and Helen are quite upset, and that's when our three boys come back from changing in the gym, um, from changing, and arrive with three orange juices for their girlfriends. And Jose arrives exactly at the same time with three more drinks. And Joanna's like, "Oh my gosh, you brought me three drinks. However, so kind of you." And Helen and Kathy behave very embarrassed. And Etienne gives Jose the side eye, and it's the end of the scene. Back in their improbably elegant room with their brass beds, Kathy and Helen scold Joanna for her behavior at the gym, just talking to some random boy. Oh my God, what are Cricri and Etienne and Nicolas going to think of us? Oh my God. Oh, they're going to think we're easy. And the girls are really upset. And Joanna's trying to explain to them that just because you talk to another human being who happens to be male, it doesn't mean that you're going to be like running off into the nearest bedroom with them. But Helen and Kathy don't see it that way. And they're just really, really upset and giving Joanna really the cold shoulder. This is what people did back in the day if you didn't date the way people thought that you should date, or if you didn't dress the way people thought you should dress. Um, and they would just give you a hard time. Oh my God, why are you talking to this man? Me, 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 me. All that stuff. So Joanna is trying to like just make jokes to relax the atmosphere, and the girls realize that it's not a big deal because they're not really dating yet. Although technically Joanna's been to probably third, fourth, eighth base, whatever bases there are. I don't play baseball. So Then finally, Kathy and Helen join Joanna in laughing at the situation and how the boys were giving Jose the side eye and being grumpy and all that. And they thought they're there giggling because they realized the situation is ridiculous. They were just playing around and talking to this random guy, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be like doing anything with him. Finally, they decide to call the lads to just have a giggle and, set things clear with them. But when Kathy reaches Etienne on the phone, he hangs up on her. We are back at the cafeteria. The girls are at one table, the boys are another. They're passive aggressively saying, "Well, I don't know any girls who would just talk to some random man in the gym." And the girls are like, "Well, I don't know any kind of Limp Biscuit who feels insecure just because I'm talking to another human being who happens to be male and also super handsome and also with amazing hair." So they just lob kind of jabs at each other across the cafeteria with fake giggling and teasing and, girl power kind of thing. And it's very puerile and petulant and nonsensical. That's when Jose walks in. Girls are extremely embarrassed and like tell him to go away. Don't listen to anything he has to say. And Jose says, "Hi, Nicolas." They appear to be very friendly, and the girls are kind of perplexed. They're like, "What do you mean? You're all friendly, but you appeared to be very angry earlier." And Etienne explains that Jose is their new keyboardist. Yes, after the girls left, and once almost came to hands, apparently, they almost came to fisticuffs, they got chatting, which we did not see on screen. Thank you. So they got chatting and they found out that Jose is a keyboardist, a relatively talented one, and just asked him to join their band. So, crisis averted. And it's the end of the episode. They love, they fight, they laugh, they break up, get back together, move out, move in, and never drink or do drugs until. So join me in this little adventure where we will explore and I will tell the story of Helen and the boys.